Hey everyone, JVD here from the Village of Man, bringing you another comic book review over Invincible Iron Man, number 1 through 5, in the trade paperback. It's called Riri Williams from Volume 3. Obviously, this goes along with Infamous Iron Man, about Victor Von Doom trying to take the mantle for Tony Stark after he's been put in a coma during World War II, and this is all about Riri, who Tony has tried to leave his legacy to in case this has happened. So these books kind of run hand in hand with each other, and make sure to check out my reviews over the infamous Iron Man series. But I'd read a lot online where people really did not care for all this, and I really wasn't too thrilled about reading it. I really enjoy Iron Man. I really like the character. And to see someone else take the mantle, that's especially a young woman, is a big change from the character because, you know, over the years, Tony's been a womanizer, he's been a drunk, he's very egotistical. Now we're getting a 15-year-old black girl from Chicago, and it's a very complete 180 for a character. So, but after a good friend of mine had told me that he really liked the series, that gave me hope because me and him really have a lot of similar taste when it comes to stuff like this. And after reading these first 5 issues, I really like the character. Now, the book gives you a lot of insight to Riri Williams, in that she is basically a huge fan of Iron Man, and not just Tony Stark, the man in the armor, but just his whole legacy, from anything from you know, Stark Enterprises to Pepper Potts, who she gets to meet in this book. And it's really nice because, if anything, she is a fan, and it's almost, reading this, it's almost like being a fan who gets to make it in the comic book business, and seeing their perspective on how things work. Being a fan of Iron Man, now she gets to be Iron Man, which she dubs herself Ironheart, and gets to live the superhero life of basically, you know, her favorite hero, you know. So it's really nice to see that. You get to learn a lot of her back story in these first 5 issues. Amanda Armstrong, or as we learn, Amanda Strong, because she's a famous musician who has been giving Tony, after his comatose state or death, as you like to see it. We get to see a little bit more of her interaction with Mary Jane, who has tried to help Tony Stark with his enterprise, and Tomo, the Techno Golem from the small volume that Bendis had started before this, makes her return, which I was pretty happy to see about. So overall, this is a really good book. It's very Bendis-like. There's some Bendis references throughout the book that, if you really follow his work, you'll really catch. But like I said, I'd read some bad things about this book. A friend had really given me hope to read it once he told me that he had really liked it, and I really do, and I'm really curious to finish up the rest of this. And I think she's currently going to be in a Champions book, so I'm not sure if I'll pick that up because I really don't care for a lot of the other characters. So but anyways, I'll kind of dive into some spoilers here. You learned a lot about Riri Williams, and then at the age of 5 that her parents found out that basically she was not genius level, but super genius level, and I would assume that's due to the heroes of Marvel, such as Tony Stark, Reed Richards, T'Challa, Hank Pym, Hank McCoy, Bruce Banner. You know, that they now have this upper level of genius on test and whatnot, and that, you know, she learns that she's bored, and they have to find other ways to engage her, to remind her, you know, that, you know, there's this whole world around you, don't get bored. And you kind of see little bits and pieces with that in her life. And what kind of really drives her to be the superhero is one day at the park, her one friend that she has made, Natalie, is with her mom and her stepdad, and there's a drive-by at the basketball court, and it takes the life of her friend Natalie and her stepfather. And this is what drives her, and it's not just the loss of her friend, but now her mother has lost 2 husbands, both to, I'm going to assume, gang violence, since she has both been shot. So they really give you the feel of her living in the city of Chicago, and I wouldn't say that they're a impoverished family, but, you know, you get that lifestyle that, you know, they grew up, you know, not having the best of life, you know, the best money coming in, and that she's kind of struggled, and, you know, now, you know, they're happy, and now things have been taken away from them, and that's what really pushes a character. And I guess it's just the classic, tragedy brings heroism out of the best of people. So, and by now, she's trying to really figure out her own armor. Tony has uploaded his conscious into an AI for her armor, which she receives during all this. And he sends her his own model for an armor that he was working on her, which she struggles to find a name, and which where she comes up with the name Ironheart due to, the struggle she has had in the past that Tony has found out about. You also get to where she runs into one day, Pepper Potts shows up as rescue, and they have a really interesting conversation about how she needs to be a hero and what steps she needs to take, precautions, and the training she needs, because Tony has already tried to train her with his own suits, which she's done a really good job of. It's not that she wants to face things head on with her fist and her weaponry, but with her mind. And Pepper Potts kind of really pushes that on her, that, you have a big decision ahead that you need to make, and that, you should really think about what you're doing here, and if this is going to be your life, you really need to, focus on it. And it's funny because when she meets Pepper Potts, Tony's AI is there, and it's kind of like he's sarcastically flirting with Pepper, because that's very Tony. But it's kind of like Riri Williams is more of a fan of Pepper Potts than she is Tony Stark, and I think the AI is a little insulted. But anyways, during this time, Tomo, the Inhuman who has the ability to take over machinery and control it, shows up with her biohack ninjas, and she winds up taking both Pepper's rescue armor and the Ironheart armor. And there's a big fight that breaks out, which Riri Williams does all she can to escape, while Pepper Potts tries to hold them off. And like I just said, where Tony was trying to train her with his own armor, she finds a way to defeat them by basically uploading a virus through a laptop of a kid in the building that they're at. So, like I said, she's using ways to defeat her enemies without, violence, and it's really nice, because she's such a young kid, and this is a way of her showing that, I'm not going to use violence to solve everything like most of these heroes do. I'm going to try to find a way to finish my enemies off, in a more simpler manner that's not going to cause a lot of damage to a city per se. And which I was really glad to see Tomo show back up. I really liked that character from the small Iron Man volume before this. But I thought it was very lackluster through this whole thing. I was really hoping that was something that would continue on for a while and go throughout the series. And it ends real fast here as S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up, because Pepper calls Sharon Carter to come pick them up. So I was really upset to see that had happened real fast. Also, during this time, you have Mary Jane Watson and Amanda Armstrong at trying to take control of Tony's company. And this is when you find out that his mom, Amanda, is actually a musician. She's really famous, and named Amanda Strong. She's just cut the arm off of, that's kind of a bad way to say that, isn't it? Of Armstrong, and she's really famous, and Lynch, this guy who's wanting to take over the company, is a huge fan. And she really does a really good job of getting him away, and she basically talks to Friday, Tony's AI for his armor, about, can you run this company? She's like, yeah, all you gotta do is say the word. And she says, we'll do it. And then there's a really funny scene that comes out of this. And when she does it, Friday tells her it's done. And I'm going to read this from the panel by panel. She's like, Amanda says, thank God I couldn't do it, but nothing to Skynet though, okay? And Friday tells her, that movie is inspiring. And MJ and Amanda Armstrong kind of give each other a look, and then give Friday a look like, and she's like, I'm just joking. So I thought that was really funny, because I'm a big Terminator fan. And, and it's hilarious. It's just some of that Bendis humor that's in the book. It's a real, a lot that puts into his books. And the thing is, that's foreshadowing for the end of this book, as Tony's AI and Friday are conversating as he's looking at all the armors, and they're talking about Riri Williams. And basically, Tony's AI through this entire 5-issue run, I'm not really sure where this ties up with the middle of Infamous Iron Man, but he basically tells Friday that, as an AI, he has realized that humans are the problem with the world. So he is actually almost going Skynet in a way. So that's some good foreshadowing with an inside joke halfway through these first 5 issues that is a good way to end the 5th issue. So I'm really excited to see how these last 6 issues turn out. There's also something in here that's Bendis created at the beginning of the book, and it's before she gets the Ironheart armor. Riri Williams winds up fighting Animax, which is a Bendis creation from the X-Men, and she can basically create monsters through her DNA structure and make them living. And I thought that was a really cool thing that he had done, was to bring one of his own creations in for Riri Williams to fight. They're both young girls. So maybe in the future that's something that will become more of a nemesis for her. Not sure how that's going to turn out now that Bendis is gone from Marvel and writing for DC. But that was, it's a really good nod to one of his characters that really doesn't get a lot of love. But as for my review here on Riri Williams, this Invincible Iron Man 1 through 5, Volume 3, it's a really good read. Another good thing is the beginning of each issue so far has a video diary of what she's done, and it's really neat. And it suits her for being a 15-year-old kid. I can see where a 15-year-old kid would do that, especially if you watched Spider-Man Homecoming. You get a lot of that with Peter Parker, so it's very new age for a 15-year-old girl. So it's a nice little play on the character. But I'm JVD. This has been my review for Invincible Iron Man 1 through 5, or Ironheart, titled Riri Williams. Keep reading, guys.